University of Rio Grande men's basketball Tweety Day for 2018-19. I'm Randy Payton, the Sports Information Director. We're joined now by the head coach of the Red Storm, Ken French. You and I talked last week. You're in the middle of preseason practice, and when you get to this time of year, there's always a high level of excitement as you head into a new season, and I'm sure that's what you guys are facing right now.
There is, and especially if you have 7 new players in a program like we've got this year, and you know, there's a lot of unknown. You know, you asked the other day if it was a little scary going into the year, you know, with so many new faces and having to teach a lot. You know, the coaching staff's having to teach a lot of new concepts and you know, 2 completely new systems on the offensive and defensive end. And it's not scary. In fact, it's been refreshing with the group of young men that we have because of, you know, how they've approached every day. They come in, they're eager to get better. And we've had our ups and downs. We've had a couple of days where maybe practice wasn't as good as what it needed to be, but they've always bounced back the next day and responded.
Still got to have some questions, though. You look down some of last year's numbers, and I just now realized you lost 6 of your top 7 scorers from last year. So obviously you've got some offense that you have to try to replace.
We've got a lot of offense to replace, and you know, we will. It's just we don't know yet. That's the unknown. We've got some guys that need to step into roles, but it's just like, you know, every team in the country is going to have a leading scorer. You know, and a lot of teams just don't know who it is. And a lot of teams, you know, especially the top teams in our league, they know. There's a known there. We just don't know. And that'll develop. And you know, somebody's got to lead us in scoring, but I can't sit here and tell you who it's going to be.
Talk about the 5 guys that you do have back. Among those 5, Trey Kelly is your leading scorer, and you see a guy walking around like Greg Wallace, who's gotten bigger and stronger over the past year. And you're looking to those 5 guys, I'm sure, to provide some leadership for this team.
We are, but we're going to be very, very balanced. The newcomers are very talented. The 7 new guys that we brought in will provide a lot of energy and excitement. But, you know, as far as returners go, you know, Trey Kelly is our leading scorer returning out of that group, and he's improved. Every single player that's returning out of those 5 guys has improved their game, improved their conditioning, and changed their bodies physically. They're stronger, and they've worked hard. You know, they had a bad taste in their mouth coming off of last season, and they're setting the tone for if our culture and our relationships are going to be strong or not. It's going to start with those 5 guys.
And almost every one of them, when we talk to them individually, mentioned the fact that 1.6 point differential, whatever. You won 11 games last year, and there were a whole bunch of them that with a break here or there could have gone the other way.
Absolutely, and it was frustrating. And it comes down to your chemistry, and can you execute in crunch time, and you know, can you trust that guy to do what he's supposed to do on his assignments on the defensive end and execute and do what they need to do on the offensive end? And the returning guys understand that. They know that. And that's why there's that level of frustration. But I'll also say this. While they may talk about that, you know, with you and that kind of thing, it's not carried over into practice. It's not. There's not a frustration level there. This is an entirely new team. You know, last year's team was last year. This year's team, you know, it's a 1-year life, you know, a term for a basketball team. And, you know, we're in that preseason mode here. Next thing you know, it's going to be Thanksgiving. We'll be playing. Then it's going to be after Christmas. You're in, you know, you're in the crux of league play, and season will be over before we know it.
You mentioned you got 7 newcomers, and it's a little flavor of some local guys and some guys from overseas. I mean, you got guys from England and South Africa and hither and yon, I guess, so to speak.
And it's also a good mix of transfers and freshmen. You know, we've got three freshmen that are true freshmen, and then we've got 4 that are transfers. We've got a senior transfer and you know, 2 sophomores and a junior. So it's a pretty good mix, and it balances out our classes. We'll have 1 senior on the team this year, Earl Russell, who's a transfer from St. Leo, a Division II school. Who
apparently can jump out of the gym.
If his feet are in the paint, he's got a chance to tear the rim down, you know. And you know, we're trying to expand his game and work on some different things. And he's got a nice skill set. I don't know if he's had the chance to really showcase it, but he's going to with us.
You're picked 6th overall in the league, 3rd in the division. Given what you know about your own team, is that what you thought you'd be?
Honestly, I didn't think we'd be that high, given that we have, 7 new players.
Right.
And what we lost. We lost an All-American in Will Hill, and I talked about that during media day, and I've talked about that openly with other coaches. I think it's I take it as a sign of respect for our program, and I think you have to. But is that where we're going to be? I don't know. They don't hand out trophies on preseason polls and on paper. So we'll see how we perform, and I'd like to be a little bit higher, to be honest. But we've got two teams in our division that are national caliber teams. IU East was number 1 in the country at the end of the year last year. West Virginia Tech was ranked and made the national tournament, and they're both gonna be highly ranked teams preseason probably. And then you got IU Southeast on the other side. So those 3 teams have established themselves. Those are the top 3 programs in our conference right now.
And you'll be seeing, obviously, all of those teams on your schedule. Of course, you'll have IU East and Tech twice and Southeast once, but kind of talk about the schedule as a whole. You've got, obviously, a trip to Kingsport, Tennessee to play in your D2 showcase that you've kind of babied the last 2 or 3 years, and headed to Florida right before Christmas. And then, of course, it's a rugged schedule inside the conference.
I think our non-conference is going to help us, prepare for our conference schedule, obviously. And we do that every year. We don't do ourselves any favors as far as non-conference scheduling go. We play 2 crossroad teams on the road. Then we're going to play 2 very good programs down in Kingsport at the NAI D2 Showcase, the show. And then, we in the Bevo, prior to that weekend, we're going to have 2 tough opponents in Bluefield College and Washington Adventist. So it's going to be very challenging. We go to Florida, and we're going to play Warner, who's a nationally ranked program, right, and Midland, and Coach Oliver Drake, who does a great job with them. And it's going to be a challenge, especially with so many new guys. I'm sure that it's going to be trial by fire here, because they don't know what they're getting into. They don't know anything about this level. And as you know, most people, once they get into this level of play, they figure out it's a heck of a lot better than what people give it credit for.
You guys haven't had the opportunity to go against somebody other than wearing Rio on their jersey at this point, but what's your impressions of your team thus far from what you've seen out of them in practice?
Very eager to learn. And like I said, we've had some days where we maybe didn't finish as well as what we wanted to, and they've come back the next day and had really good practices. They're learning how to compete. And that's part of a development of a young team. And the big thing is we're trying to on the fly here, just competing against one another, figure out who plays well together, who doesn't. We're still trying to form an identity. We're still trying to develop roles on a team. It's going to take a while. And as coaching staff, we have to be patient with that. And I know it's frustrating for the players, because they think we can go play somebody right now. and while we do need to go against somebody else, we're not ready. And that's part of that process, and being patient, and we've got to develop that.
Before we let you go, in your mind's eye, if there's one thing night in, night out you have to do to be successful in 18-19, what would that be?
Defend. If you're going to compete in our league, you got to be able to defend. And we've got to be better on the defensive end. We've never had a problem on the offensive end scoring a basketball or being creative and finding ways to get baskets. So, for me, it's going to be on the defensive end. We've got to improve on that end. We can't let teams shoot a high field goal percentage against us. We've got to understand our defensive philosophy. But it's defending. The teams that are the best teams in our league, they defend, and they defend well.
Coach, we appreciate your time today and wish you the best of luck this season.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Randy.
All right, that's head coach Ken French of the University of Rio Grande men's basketball team here at 2018-19 Tweety-A-Day.